Well, hello, this is Colt again from Spit and Tax Upholstery here in Spokane, Washington. Right out of Spokane, Airway Heights. Hello again. I've seen y'all for a while. Been busy. These videos take up a lot of time, so we'll get right after it. We're going to do some boat seats today, beginning to end. I'll make sure to finish all my videos. This one's a little more complicated. So for a friend of mine, Mr. Clark. So there's a number of tools that you'll need when you're doing, any kind of seat. You're going to need the dike, the staple puller, the fin wedge, little upholstery hammer. That's a cool old one. Pair of gloves so you don't bark your knuckles up. Today I'm using a grinder because on the back of this particular seat, Mr. Clark, his bolts didn't come out. So you'll run across this a lot. You'll go to take the brackets off, these aluminum brackets, and then these, they're usually always Phillips, but they're just spinning. Well, the board here, with wet weather and stuff like that, those little anchors, they got little fins in them, and they tap in, and then you screw in from the top. They rust out. They get, wet and they rust. So get good ones, get the chrome ones if you can when you buy them. They got a couple different versions of them. But anyway, you got no choice but to just get a grinder. I got a $20 at Harbor Freight, an old Chicago Electric, and you just got to go and get after it. Now, just do it just plain on top of it. You just want them flat. Okay, you might bark up the edges, burr them up a little bit. Tell the customer before you start doing that, hey, you're not going to see this, but the only way to get these out is this is how you do it. Unless you break the board, which you don't want to do. So, try to be as neat as you can, but you're going to get a few little dish marks from your grinder wheel. Basically, when they're stripped out like that, don't mess around. You got to move. You got stuff to do. Make sure you wear your gloves and your eye protection. And make sure there's, like in my shop, I got all kinds of stuff in here. Chainsaws and, sometimes I have a thing of fuel or something over there while I'm in the middle of something else. Make sure everything's out of the way. Make sure your shop is clean, everything's picked up, the floors are swept, sparks don't start fires, things like that. Okay, so then just get after it. Oh. Okay, so it's a bulbous head, it's a screw. So you just kind of lean into the edge and just walk your way across it, and it'll flatten out, get red hot. Don't worry about that. Just take your little hammer and your little fan. Once it gets flat like that, you can see that. Okay. Once that gets flat like that, you just come underneath of it and give it a little push, and it'll just pop up. And if you bend the aluminum a little bit, it's not a big deal. You can come back and See that? You can manipulate those to where they'll pull through. You just beat them and bang them, and there you go. That one's done. And you can see there's a few scuff marks on that, but it's unavoidable, and it's not that bad. It's not like cut marks in the aluminum. So that's what you're gonna run into there, okay? We're gonna jump around. We're gonna do a bunch of videos real quick. I just got me the new iPhone 15 Pro, so now you can see me, and now I can get my videos out. I had the iPhone 11, it was giving me a hard time. I couldn't download more than like a half hour, or it was horrible. And I hope this picture quality is better, but so when you run into that and they're stripped, don't even mess with them. Just grind them off and then pry them up. And then this aluminum bracket, if you did happen to get a little bow in it, if some of them are thinner than others, you know, just get it on the table and use the rubber side of your mallet and bang that sucker flat. It ain't rocket science. Don't overthink of it. But before you start this, go through, like if you'll notice this little, this is a release bracket here for the seat that, you know, it's a lock. And photograph everything. Go through and photograph everything. The little end caps, because you'll see this later when we go to sew this. This is a pretty difficult one. You got end caps, and then you got inside cuts, and so you have lots of technical relief cuts to do while you sew. And so this is a great seat. You know, this is an advanced project, but if you can sew, you can do this. You know, you gotta start practicing your sewing. Get yourself a good machine. I'll walk through and I'll videotape some of my machines that I have, and we'll go through some other stuff about how big a shop you need, what tools you need, what tools you don't need, what kind of space you need, what kind of tables you need. Okay, what kind of serger and if you have an older one like me, a Gibbs and Wilcox, which they're awesome, East Germany, you know, a 4 or 5 lock overlock serger, they're bulletproof. Anyway, things like that, just the setup of a shop. So for right now, that's it. I'll be right back. Okay, here we go.